Spring days, particularly the warmer ones, have been jam-packed with outdoor events, both planned and unplanned. On this day, we've traveled to the cabin to check in on fallen trees and branches. Then we impulsively swung by Jack's shack and pond. It was covered in the first wildflowers of the season, and his pond was aquamarine in the sunlight. And then on the way back into town, we bumped into Mason and helped out a bit with some log lifting. A handful of days later, we spent an evening wandering the woods in search of a spot for sunset sightseeing. Along the way, we discovered an old ladder that belonged to my youngest sister, Amber. It's part of a worn-down treehouse her and my dad built in years past. Since it was no longer in use, we lounged on it while watching the sun dip behind the mountains. The occasional roar of four-wheelers meshed with the songs of the birds and the crickets. It's a sure sign of spring to hear people outside again among nature. We took the ladder home to hang blankets on the rungs. It's nostalgic to look at in our office, and my sister doesn't mind. And as we walked back, we encountered a beaver that swam beside our path. And soon ensued a romantic lake night picnic with pizza and wine. We were met with magenta mountains and fuchsia forests. I'm finding myself by the water more and more often these days. And on one of those days, Kyle took me to some pretty neat fishing spots by the river and under old bridges. I aspire to learn fly fishing from him this year. The first paddle of the year came quickly. We brought the canoe out from seasonal retirement and lifted it on top of the rover to secure it. With some food in the lunchbox and campfire essentials loaded, we had everything we needed for our plans. And when the canoe was packed up, we took a moment to admire the scenery before getting in the water. It's good to just pause now and then. Following lots of stargazing, singing, and dancing, we went old school and cooked some hearty dogs and beans over the fire before cleaning up and heading out. And as we loaded it all back up, I just kept thinking about how at peace I felt from experiences like this. A few days had passed, and the humming of bees and chainsaws echoed through the neighborhood, which reminded me of summer. That being said, the weather was sporadic the rest of the week, and we kept getting served New England's proprietary spring blend of sun, snow, and rain. If you aren't familiar with our early northeastern spring, here's a glimpse of what it's like. On the topic of weather, the rage and power of thunderstorms has always fascinated me. Before they hit, you can feel the air shift and the energy change. I went to a covered bridge to observe the spring storm from a distance and soak in the surroundings. Oh, and you know what they say about spring showers and flowers. Floral coves released petals in the breeze and called to pollinators near and far. And the neighborhoods, filled with log piles and blossoming trees, had effortlessly crafted an immersive display. When Kyle's mother's birthday arrived, we cleaned up the yard and garden and made a proper clearing for river views. It was hard work and I earned my first few blisters of the season, but it was so much fun. When we wrapped up, we enjoyed a few moments with Kyle's parents, the dogs, and the chickens. I then visited the falls at dusk. The annual runoff is a short-lived perk that adds extra force and gusto to the Cascades. And with all of our excursions and projects happening, it was time to take a step back, clear our minds, and fill our lungs with forest air. The woods have a sort of meditative essence where you can deliberately dream while you're wide awake in there. and the local forsythias have been in bloom, creating an ephemeral botanical golden hour. I can't wait to show you what we did on this day, but that's for another time. A vibrant aura is returning as the earth awakens, and for the first time since my childhood, and since leaving my 9-to-5, I am outdoors to experience the season to the fullest. I had never thought my springs could look like this.